Hello YouTube, and welcome to a DBTGamer special. Today's DBTGamer special will be on an art book from The Last of Us. Now, I'm doing this video for a couple of reasons. One, it's a nice upbeat video just to keep everybody smiling through these difficult times. And two, assuming everything goes well, The Last of Us 2 will be released towards the end of May. And I thought this would be just a nice video just to get everybody excited and to keep everybody's spirits up for all those fans of the game out there. I actually recently started a Let's Play of Last of Us, and I'm hoping to continue that in the future. So I'll get back to that as soon as possible. Anyway, let's take a look at this art book. This art book was done by Dark Horse, which is quite a good company. They've published some of the Tomb Raider comics I've read recently, and they're also quite enjoyable to read. So, let's just go through this. Great artwork here. It's a completely blank page. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, this is some nice game artwork. Just look at this. I remember that level. That's the level where you go into the hotel and Ellie makes all the pun jokes. It's very funny. Or should I say, punny. Right. Okay, I'm going to skip the introduction because it will take me forever to read it out loud. This art book on Amazon, it's currently around about £30. If you can find it cheaper and you wish to purchase it for yourself, by all means go for it. It's a great art book. And there's some great development drawings in here. There was an art book which was sold with the special edition of The Last of Us on the PlayStation 3. I believe it wasn't as big as this. This one is approximately 170 pages of artwork, whereas the one that came with the game may have been about half of that. But I'm not so sure because I never bought that special edition. Anyway, let's have a look through. Some nice pictures of Joel and Ellie here. Some concept art and early designs for Joel. My camera's going crazy with all the facial expressions. It's picking up all the faces. Here's some more artwork of Joel and some of Tess. Tess, one of my favourite characters from the game, and I was rather sad when she was killed off so early in the game. Yes, I will be discussing spoilers for The Last of Us in this video, but the game is about 5 years old at this point, so anybody who's played it should have played it by now. But there will be spoilers ahead. Things I would have liked to have seen for The Last of Us besides a sequel. Part of me wanted to actually see a Last of Us prequel so that we could see what the world was like in between Joel losing Sarah and how he met Tess and up to The Last of Us 1. I thought that might have been an interesting plot to explore, because we don't get to see Tess very often, so it would have been nice to give her some more backstory. This is some more artwork of Joel and Ellie, I believe. So, yeah, it's all very nice. Recently I was looking into the Last of Us Part 2 development, and apparently a lot of the developers have left because Naughty Dog was treating them badly, and there was some stuff to do with crunch time and getting the game finished, and just lots of people leaving, and just lots of nasty corporate stuff when it comes to making video games. How do I feel about this as a fan? Well, to be brutally honest, it sucks. In the past, when I've been working my job and it's been very difficult, not to take breaks and stuff. It's just been really difficult. No one should be forced or psychologically talked into working themselves to death or working themselves to a hospitalized state. Crunch time is a horrible thing, and it definitely needs to be lessened and sorted out in the video game industry. If you have to delay the game for the health of your workers, by all means do it. People will wait, and it's just not right. Here's some more pictures of Joel, and some more concept arts of Ellie, or as Lucifer Seraph calls her, Mini Tess. In the Let's Play, I was quite frustrated at Adam always saying Mini Tess, but I also quite enjoyed the joke. So, yeah. Oh, there's some early concept art of Ellie holding a dog. Now, I've been looking at some Last of Us 2 trailers and some motion capture things, and they actually had a dog in a motion capture suit for Last of Us 2, so there will be dogs in The Last of Us 2 that might be friendly, or they might be enemies as well. But here's some more nice artwork of Ellie. She looks like she's possibly hiding, and this could be from when she was a lot younger, when she wasn't immune, because she's got like a gas mask on her backpack as well, and possibly a sword or a knife. Here's some more early designs, finalising that the iconic t-shirt with the holiday sort of setting. And some when she was younger, deciding on what hairstyle to give her. One of the biggest debates was, when The Last of Us came out, was whether Ellie was based on Ellen Page, or Ellen Page was like a actress. It was confirmed that she wasn't, but there is possibly some inspiration from that real person's in her design. If anybody out there wants to recommend a type of video that I could possibly produce, feel free to put that video in the comments. I mean, that recommendation in the comments on either my Facebook page or on my YouTube channel. I am open to suggestions all the time. If I have the game in my collection, I could make a review of it, possibly do a Let's Play, or maybe do like a DBTGamer special where I show like the first hour or something like that. So recommendations would be appreciated. At the moment, I'm just making videos to keep myself occupied and busy, and just to make people smile. Okay, we're now on to some more concept art for the journey in The Last of Us. Okay, we've got Tommy, Joel's brother, one of the earlier characters of the game, which you do see later in the game, in the dam section, I believe. I always did like Tommy. He's one of my favourite characters. He's just a nice character. Double barrel shotgun there. That doesn't actually appear in the game as a usable weapon, but yeah, shotgun. Oh, and here we have some pictures of Sarah. Sarah is a newer character who I was very sad when she died. That first chapter, it's a real gut punch. When I first played it, I had no idea they were going to go that way, and I was like, oh my goodness, they did it, and oh my. So yeah, some pictures of Sarah. I do have the Last of Us comic book, American Dreams. I was thinking about doing like a read-through of the comic book. If people would be interested in, let me know. I'm not the best when it comes to reading out loud, but if people want me to read and show them a comic, I could do that. Here's some more pictures of the artwork of the world of The Last of Us. Some buildings and destruction and apocalypse sort of stuff. Oh, there's a cinema! Dawn of the Wolf some sort of movie. And just some really nice artwork. I do like this. I also have some other art books in my collection. I have 2 for Bravely Default. One for Bravely Default, one for Bravely Second. I also have one for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And I might have a couple more, but my art book collection is quite small. But if people want to see some more art book videos, I will do them and go through these books, because they are quite enjoyable to look at. Just all the work that goes into these games and just all the sketches. I actually do like to draw myself. I'm not a brilliant artist, but it's something that I do enjoy. It helps me just relax my brain, and it's just nice to colour things in. Here's some pictures of the quarantine zone. More quarantine zone stuff. And here is some pictures of just some soldier dudes, possibly some fireflies and some rebels. And the huge wall protecting everybody from the infected people. Here's some more pictures of Tess. Yeah, with assault rifles, different outfits, and just finalising her design, her infection. One of the saddest scenes of the game, just seeing what happens with Tess. Marlene. Marlene was the person who looked after Ellie and got her to Joel so that he could take her to the Fireflies. So, yeah, she's an interesting character. She also appears in the comics. I also have... This is artwork basically of just civilians, from what I can tell. Fixing cars and just being with their families. And some artwork of like the shantytown and the markets in the earlier chapters of the game. And shipyard? Yeah, it's a shipyard. There was a shipyard in Uncharted 4 in one of the earlier levels. A confirmed theory by the fans is The Last of Us and the Uncharted universe both share the same universe. Later in the art book, I'll show some of that, some more evidence, more civilians. Some civilians of the male gender, possibly. Although I'm not assuming anything, these characters could be any gender that they want to be. And Ellie looking outside Joel's apartment in the earlier points of the game. And some nighttime shots. And the fallen down sort of apartment complex where you have to go through, where you first find the clickers. Very, very dangerous building and level that I remember from the game. And here's the outskirts when the soldiers with Joel and everybody. The underground subway station with the trains. So, yeah. Some more outside bits with all the grass and the moss. Just the world being taken back by nature and that sort of thing. Although in modern times we need to learn to work with nature, otherwise humans will go extinct. We need to start recycling more and just using more electric cars and hybrid cars, otherwise the world is just going to turn into one giant fireball. Here's a map of Billstown. I have got to Billstown in the LP. This is Bill. Bill, he's a bit of an explosive nutter of a character. He has a few stress issues and he's very paranoid, but I do like him. He's definitely a good survival sort of guy. And yeah, he's just a good character. He's got some serious skills and he's interesting. Here's some artwork of like Bill's safe house, which is like a church or a cathedral sort of building where he crafts weapons and keeps all his magazines and just his reading materials, and just it's basically his safe house, all his stuff. There's some funny scenes later in the game where he gets into an argument with Ellie for messing around with his stuff. He likes to keep things organised. Some old cars. Yeah, in the past, I believe Bill was some sort of mechanic or possibly an engineer. In one of the chapters, you do have to fix a car and find parts so that you can get there faster. Talking through the plans and that annoying bit of the game where you're upside down a road, you have to shoot the zombies whilst Ellie saves you. Oh, and here's some of the outside of the school, the inside of the school, and all the gym equipment and the houses. Yeah, it's quite good. And more city area, some more houses, and the bar where the chessboard was, and the laundry or the laundrette. Here's the Pittsburgh chapter, which is later in the game. I believe this is one of the chapters where Ellie is a lot more helpful. She actually gets a gun and she helps Joel. This is where Ellie and Joel's relationship improves, and Joel trusts Ellie to use a gun and be sort of like his backup, which is nice. Here's some of the bad guy humans. There's wearing body armor with spiked baseball bats and axes and meat cleavers, and yeah, they're gonna axe a lot of questions and Lucio a lot of people. Yeah, I'm a fan of The Walking Dead. Been watching that lately, it's quite good. And there's some more rebels and survivors. So about the sirens in this video, there's very little I can do at the moment. There's a lot of sirens to do with people going to and from hospitals. And there's some more survivors. More survivors. And some of the later levels of the game towards the hotel, I believe. And there is some beta artwork that doesn't actually appear in this art book, which is a big disappointment. I'll link a video in the description. I found it online the other day. But one of the things they wanted to incorporate into the first The Last of Us, but I think it's been incorporated into the sequel, The Last of Us Part 2, was animals infected with the cordyceps. So they wanted to incorporate like gorillas or lions or tigers just being infected with the cordyceps. And they also wanted to include like a boss fight with an infected elephant where Joel would have to run away and attack the elephant, which I thought is quite a big shame. The Last of Us, in terms of enemy designs and bosses, there aren't that many enemies that you could consider bosses in the game. I suppose there's the bloaters and maybe a big group of humans you could consider a boss fight, but the game has very few enemies that you could consider a boss fight. So seeing an infected elephant have that thing charging at you and having to get out of the way and attack it could have been an interesting boss fight. Possibly quite funny as Joel is being chased by an elephant. Here's the hotel I was talking about earlier on. It's just some really nice concept art. And got some more surviving humans who were scavenging through the hotel, and you will fight these guys later on. What do I prefer about Last of Us? I prefer the human enemies or the infected. To be honest, I prefer the infected enemies because they're so much more interesting. But as the humans, they're just with guns and that. This is the chapter where you meet Sam and Henry. This is quite an important chapter in the game. The two brothers just surviving, yet to team up with them. And I don't want to say too much about this chapter because it's quite an important chapter of the game. But yeah, this is Sam and Henry. Just show us off. If you want to pause the video at any time and look at the pictures in greater detail, feel free to do that. Okay, now on to Tommy's Dam, which is one of those chapters where Joel and Ellie's relationship is tested. Joel, his relationship with Ellie, it's a very important part of the game, you know, them staying friends and that. And here we have Tommy, older Tommy. So, yeah. And here we have Callus, or Canvas, the horse that you get late in the game when you're searching the areas. And just more houses and the dam area of the game. Here's Mariana. Mariana's Tommy's zombie apocalypse sort of wife, and she's a very supportive sort of person, and she doesn't want Tommy leaving, but she also has to understand that Tommy's a strong person and all that sort of stuff, but she's a very strong person. Some pictures of Ellie looking at old houses and how people used to live. There is one scene which I feel is somewhat relatable. She's reading like a young girl's diary and just talk about how young people used to think how, you know, do my jeans go with my shirt? Does my jacket go with my shirt? You know, just general fashion talk. In a zombie apocalypse, fashion would not be important at all. And Ellie's just reading this book thinking whether this stuff was not important, and it's really makes you think. It puts things into perspective. Some more of rebels who were looking at taking over the dam, and this could be the colony that's near the dam. The university chapter. This is quite a fun chapter, exploring the university and trying to find the Firefly lab in the university. That's quite an interesting chapter. It's also quite eerie to explore a university, all the students and all their lives, all the plans that they made, and then the virus came and, well, put a stop to that. Oh boy. This asshole, David, yeah. This guy, no joke, he's an absolute dick. I really don't like him. He's a savage, sick, sort of twisted person. And this is actually one of those chapters in the game where you get to play as Ellie. And that's one of my favourite chapters of the game, because it's different fighting style and different perspective. So yeah, it's just nice. David is definitely one character who I would definitely see as a boss character. He's very difficult to take down, and you have very limited weapons at that point in the game. And you have to use a lot of stealth, and it's just not easy. This is a nice snowy picture. So, some of David's crew and some of the areas where you've in the game at that time. Here's Joel when he's injured in the game. Later in the game, Joel does get injured, and it causes some permanent damage for a while. And here's the boss fight with David. Quite a difficult boss fight. And the bus depot. The bus depot is one of the later chapters of the game, and you also get to see some animals, as the zebra and a giraffe. It's nice to see the animal. It just gives you a break from the action. It's just really nice. It's like going to a zoo, but in real life, and the zoo is the city. It's just great. Some more Firefly soldiers here, which is quite important to the later parts of the game, in the hospital. And this is I believe this is one of the final scenes of the game, where you get to see Tommy's sanctuary that he's built up with always housed, and Joel and Ellie just looking out on it. Oh, and here we have the infected. This is going to get gory, so anybody who doesn't want to see the infected, skip ahead in the video until we get back to the nice parts, because this can be quite horrific. Some early sketches and just some early designs for the infected. Absolutely gruesome enemies, but they're so scary. And these things at some point were always human, but they're not human anymore. They're something a lot more horrifying. Especially this young girl here. Just look at that. That is just absolutely terrifying. I've looked for this book 2 or 3 times, and sometimes I don't look at it too often. It might give me nightmares. Sometimes zombies do give me bad dreams. And some more pictures. Just all these infected guys. Yep. And some of the spores and how they attach to the buildings and how they spread all their spores. And some more clickers. And people taking care of the virus with a flamethrower, just burn everything. It's probably the best way to get rid of things. More clickers. Just more infected designs. All the stages of the infection. Apparently, the maximum amount of time it takes to infect you is about 3 days. And then you'll turn into a runner. And then after a few weeks, you could turn into a clicker. And in between the clicker and the runner stage, there's also the stalker stage. And just more clicker artwork here. And some more of these spores just infecting people. And this is the final stage of the infection that we know of so far. And this is one of the most difficult enemies in the game. This is the bloaters. These are absolute pain in the ass to beat. They take so much ammo and so many cocktails. And just eat up your resources. More infected designs. And that's it for the infected. Now on to the world of The Last of Us. This is the last section of the book, so I'll just go for this here. Got some of the posters that you find in the game, and some of the movies like Dawn of the Wolf, some sort of Firefly pendants. All these cool melee weapons, but some of them you actually do use in the game. Beta designs for the bows and arrows, and all that stuff. And stuff for the marketing for the game. Here's some bedrooms and some beds. Here we go. This is what I was talking about earlier on. This is a newspaper that you find in Uncharted 3, which, if you read it in Uncharted 3, it talks about fungus and infection and all that sort of thing. It's like a little Easter egg. And there's also another one here. The quality is kind of bad, but it's supposed to be sort of like a beaten down newspaper, so that's why it looks that way. And just some more concept art here that promoted The Last of Us when it was in development. I always do like it when game developers put Easter eggs in. One of my favourite Easter eggs in The Last of Us is in the toy shop level, where you find like board games of Uncharted and board games of Jak and Daxter. It's just some really great stuff. Here's some more concept art of Joel and Ellie. And some more promotional pictures of Joel and Ellie just finalising everything. So, yeah. In black and white and in colour. And some earlier sketches. And some posters. The Last of Us 2 is going to get an art book as well. I might go through that when I get the game. I am thinking about purchasing the special edition with the art book. There are some quite crazy special editions for The Last of Us 2 as statues, backpacks, and all this extra stuff. I do like special editions, but sometimes I find it hard just by the money I'm spending on them. And also space in my bedroom. My game room is getting pretty packed these days. Joel teaching Ellie how to shoot their sniper rifle. Here we go. American Dreams. This is the comic which was done for The Last of Us. I believe it was like in between 4 and 6 issues. It was a really fun comic to read. I really enjoyed it. It was one of the first comics I actually picked up when I first started collecting comics. I got it when I was at Thought Bubble all those years ago, but I really found it enjoyable to read and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, some great artwork. If you can find The Last of Us American Dreams comic, I would highly recommend picking it up. It's just a really enjoyable read. It gives you some nice backstory for Ellie and that sort of stuff. And that is it. That's all the artwork in the Last of Us art book. Thank you all for joining me in this look at this art book. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Please like, comment and subscribe, and possibly give me some more suggestions of what videos you'd like to see. And I'll hopefully make some more videos in the future. See you guys next time.